Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome back to the whiteboard. This week, we are talking about the thing that has search marketers pulling their hair out, AI overviews. So if you have been living under a rock or you just don't know what the impact is of AI overviews on PPC, I'm going to walk through it with you as well as what you can do to identify your at-risk keyword themes and hopefully mitigate the impact. So first, let's just start with where we used to be. SERPs for most high-value queries. I'm using a lead generation example, but the shopping example is pretty much the same. Right at the top of the page, you had your search bar. We had 4 ad units for most, maybe 1 SERP feature like a people also asked, maybe a map pack for a search with local intent, maybe something else in terms of like other queries. But there was, generally speaking, maybe 1 SERP feature in the middle here, and then we had our 10 blue links and some more ads at the bottom of the page. This is a great setup for advertisers because of the 18 total blue links on the page, 8 are ads, 10 are organic, roughly 50-50 shot, and even in an increasing zero-click environment, this structure meant that advertisers on paid search were getting a pretty steady, predictable stream of traffic, and there was plenty of inventory to keep CPCs relatively constrained. Obviously, some CPCs are more expensive than others, but by and large, having this structure was a pretty solid thing for search marketers. Then came AI overviews, which are now being rolled out to progressively more SERPs, something that Ginny Marvin at SMX just reiterated again. So when an AI overview hits a SERP, and we've looked at this a number of times, this is what the SERP transforms into. We go from ads at the very top to an AI overview that takes up the whole first scroll in many cases, especially on mobile. On desktop, you can kind of see where it ends, but it can also be expanded via a little toggle that goes even further down and then will include some links at the bottom or on the side, depending on your browser orientation. After that, there's usually 1 ad right here, followed by at least 1 more SERP feature. This is my crude attempt at a map pack, but we can all understand that that's a map. There's little dots on the map. We got this. This is a whiteboard about marketing, not about art. Then another ad, usually sandwiched between that, the 10 blue links or the 4 blue links or 8 blue links, some number of blue links. Then at the bottom of the page, usually 2 to 4 ads. So what this has done, number one, the number of top of page ads has been reduced from 4 to 1 to 2. The number of absolute top of page ads, so the first thing you see on a SERP is an ad, goes way down to almost, in any case where the AI overview happens, there are no absolute top of page ads at this time. We're going to come back to that. So you will still see an absolute top of page because Google changed the definition, but the number of absolute top of page ads you can see goes down. Right? Number 2, SERPs with AI overviews are 3 to 5 times more likely to have another SERP feature prominently positioned versus SERPs without the AI overviews. What that means is that a SERP that has an AI overview is more likely to have people also asked, a map pack, a local pack, some other SERP features on that page. Some are even having shopping carousels and search ads and AI overviews, right? The number of SERP features, the number of things competing for your user's attention increases. Number 3, this is where things get interesting. As we have been testing these SERPs out and actually checking them, we are seeing Google is actually moving the AI overview from the very top of the page, where it used to be like a supercharged featured snippet, to the middle of the page and restoring ads at the top of the page. Gee, I wonder why. But it is a change to keep in mind because that does fundamentally change the calculus. And number 4, for many high-value terms, especially in the lead generation space, legal, home services, insurance, etc., right? We are seeing more LSAs than ever before, up to 3 times more than we used to. So more LSA ad units, more SERP features, fewer ads for the standard AI overview page, but a change coming. And you can see the results of each of these are pretty predictable. When you cut the number of top of page ad units, what do? There are fewer clicks to ads because, candidly, there are fewer ads to click on. When you move the ads down the page, you get lower top of page, you get fewer ad units to compete for, you get higher CPCs, and you get fewer conversions from paid search. That's not great. When you increase the number of SERP features on a page, click-through rates drop. Pretty standard. More things competing for attention, less attention can go to any one individual thing, fewer clicks go to ads. Ironically enough, the third thing, where AI overviews are going to the middle of the page, has the exact inverse effect on those SERPs. More top of page ads, which means lower CPCs, higher click-through rates, and relatively normal ad performance. And number 4, LSAs, right? Lower paid spend because users go directly to the LSA that's Google verified, etc., especially in like legal terms, for instance. And more LSA money, which means more money that you don't really have control over because LSAs, while they function similarly in some respects, these are a fundamentally different ad unit type. They're bid on fundamentally differently, and getting your money back for a bad LSA is surprisingly hard since they've automated the process. So this all leads to this challenge for search marketers, which is, what do you do? The first thing to keep in mind, first thing to do is check your SERPs. Go to your keywords. Actually search for the keywords in your account. We all have data on which keywords are performing and what those SERPs look like. Go to the search terms report. See what people actually queried. Search those things in your browser, logged in, logged out, mobile, desktop. It's pretty simple. Anybody can do it. Take a screenshot, full page screenshot of that. Throw it into a folder. Label the screenshot. It's a pretty simple process, right? And then what you want to start to do is organize those keywords into the same ad group. So maybe make a folder for ad group 1, folder for ad group 2, folder for ad group 3, and then look and see the percentage of SERPs where you are getting an AI overview at the top of the page. Again, it's boring, it's monotonous. There is probably an AI workflow or an agentic workflow that can do it for you, but it's important to have the data. And what you're going to start to do is cluster these across 2 axes. One is the value to your business, right? We all have paid search terms that we know are super high value. These are the things that just convert, the bread and butter terms. And then we have stuff that's lower value, informational terms, exploratory terms, potentially competitor terms, right? You should intuitively know how valuable each of these keywords are, but if you're not, go check the conversion data, go check the conversion history, check the return on ad spend, check the CPA, and establish, hey, these keywords are super high value, they convert very well for us, they convert very consistently for us. These keywords are low value, maybe they do convert fantastically well, but they're so infrequent that it's hard. Maybe they're more informational, they don't actually lead to a ton of sales, but they're valuable for us to have at the right price. So we establish the value on the x-axis, and on the y-axis, you're going to chart the percentage of your SERPs that have an AI overview displaying. Pretty simple. You had 10 keywords, you did 10 searches, 3 had an AI overview. That's a 30% AI overview. Okay. You checked 10 keywords, 9 had an AI overview. 9. Pretty simple, right? 0 to 100%. Very low value to high value. And then what you're going to do is just drop your keywords or your keyword themes and plot them on this graph. Pretty simple. And they're going to fall into one of 4 buckets. If they are super high value terms and there is a super high percentage of AI overviews, that is a danger zone for PPC. That is a problem. Because what that means is that unless this change happens, you are going to be paying more, there are fewer ads available, and potentially your campaign performance will degrade over time. This is a problem. We need to either identify additional keyword groups or additional keyword clusters that do not fall into this group. You need to identify alternative ways to reach your target audience, or you need to shift more budget or plan to shift more budget into lower value terms that might have lower AI overviews, right? On the flip side, if you have a low percentage of AI overviews and super high value, this is your opportunity to back up the Brinks truck, dump money here, because these are the ones where your CPCs will stay stable, your CTRs will be stable, your performance is predictable. That is good news for you. Go invest money. Take money from here and put it here if you can. Then on the lower value things, this is where things get difficult, because I've always believed that PPC, paid media, and organic search, as much as we don't love SEOs most of the time because they do SEO things and they talk about backlinks, we are on the same team. There is only one SERP. We got to play together. So here, when we get to this side of the equation, this is where we need to work together. For terms that are low value with low percentage of AI overviews, your paid search and your organic search can just work together. Paid search can test out terms. Once you validate the term has a certain level of performance, the SEO team can begin to optimize for it, right? Then hopefully you can wean the budget off on paid search, find more terms, rinse, repeat, et cetera, et cetera. When you get to high AI overviews and low value, this is where things get challenging, because what you really want to do is start to think about optimizing your site for an AI overview. And that does mean checking out the AI overview, understanding where Google is sourcing the information from, understanding the structure of those pages, where the opportunities are to add unique value, and then doing the old school SEO stuff required to get into that AI overview, right? But if you don't have this breakdown, you can't figure out which things are what, but you might see your paid search performance drop off a cliff and have a client asking why. It is much better to be ahead of this, to track this over time, and be able to adjust your strategy in real time, knowing what AI overviews in their current form do to your paid search performance. So, if you haven't done it yet, fill out this for your client, for your brand, figure out where your opportunities are, and then start to invest. Talk to you next week.